Hi. Hi, I'm back. I don't know what happened. Sometimes people, I guess they see that I'm on and they want to talk to me. And so I ended up getting, whatever, bumped off my own channel. Anyway, I was talking about tolerance and things that you have to tolerate. So the thing that I have to tolerate right now is Hurricane Dorian. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's going to just move on its own. And so I can do one of two things in reaction to that thing that I have to put up with, which is I can freak out, which I have done. I've done in the past when I've been in Florida and I have a hurricane coming. You kind of freak out because you're trying to do the best you can to protect yourself. And then ultimately, after you do whatever you can, you have to stay calm and not react badly. Then you protect your house and you sit and wait. This is the problem with hurricanes. Sometimes they take a really long time to get to you, and so the waiting is the hardest part because you don't know what's going to happen. And they're saying that it's going to move offshore, but I know not to trust hurricanes, so we're just waiting. We're in a wait and see situation. So that's something that you have to tolerate. Other things that you have to tolerate are like I just flew to Australia, and every single person says the same thing. Oh my God, how was that plane ride? The plane was 6 hours to LA, and then, thank you, Charlie. I have to tolerate my cats knocking stuff off all the time. I don't care. He does it just to aggravate me. That's funny. We'll get to that in a second. So, I tolerated a 6 hour flight to LA, and then I tolerated a 13 and a half hour flight to Australia. Now, in that situation, again, I had no choice. I had no choice but to just deal with the 13-hour flight. I couldn't get off the plane. There was no leaving. I had to just sit there and deal with it. So, people like, I would go crazy if I was on a 13-hour flight. I could have gone crazy. I could have gone mental. I could have taken a lot of drugs and doped myself up. Instead, I just dealt with it. I just like, okay, well, I can tolerate this. I can tolerate a 13-hour flight because at the other side, I'm getting off in Australia. So I was really excited about that. So that's one of the things that you don't have a choice to tolerate. Things that you do have a choice to tolerate, like if you're sitting in a movie theater and the people behind you are talking during the movie, you can turn around and tell them to shut up. Probably won't help. Usually doesn't. Usually ends up in a fight in that situation. You could just get up and move. So in that case, you can get up and move. Those are the type of things that, if your neighbor is playing loud music during a party, you can put earplugs in. You can go to bed. You can go ask him to turn it down, which is usually going to end up in an argument, or maybe the cops will be called. So there are things that you can do for situations that you have to tolerate where you can get away from them. Just get away, just extract yourself from the intolerant situation and move on to something else, do something else, distract yourself from the situation that's intolerant, and just carry on your business. So one of the things that happened to me the other day was for reasons that I can't understand, people were talking about the hurricane, and when it was aiming right at Miami, they were all very happy or making comments about, oh good, it's going to hit Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's house. And I kept seeing this over and over, and it was very disturbing to me, and I was not willing to tolerate. I was being even though it's very hard when you're a tolerant person. Being tolerant means allowing other people to have their own opinions and not saying no, you're not allowed to have that opinion. So when you are tolerant of someone else, you're tolerant of their religion, you're tolerant of their political beliefs, you're tolerant of their sexual orientation, whatever. I mean, there's so many things that we tolerate just by virtue of going around, and you don't care what they do, or if they say something that you disagree with, or if they disagree with your opinion, you say, okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion. That is true tolerance, to say that somebody's entitled to their opinion. So that's what you want to strive for. You want to strive to letting people be entitled to their opinion. So the other day when I saw people getting political about this storm, I was upset because I'm up here in New York and my family and loved ones are in Florida and I couldn't help them. So I posted a thing on Facebook that said, please don't use the storm to support your political views. It's not funny and it's not appropriate. So, a couple of people were like, yes, thumbs up for that. But then, this one guy gets on and he's like, well, I don't care. I hope that Donald Trump's house gets blown away. And I said, well, my family is down there. And he's like, my family's down there too. And I was like, well, what's wrong with you? Why would you be willing to have your family's sacrifice just so Donald Trump's house can blow away in a hurricane? You're willing to put your family's life in danger. And of course, the thing is, he said, well, my family would probably agree with me, which, it was like, it got to a point where, hi, Linda, got to a point where, hi, David, got to a point where it was like, he was really, I couldn't tolerate his comments that turned the hurricane into a political talking point for him. And of course, the more he spoke, it was obvious that he was just a moronic comments about, oh, maybe the president's house will get lifted up like in The Wizard of Oz and get dropped in the ocean. Now, obviously that's not going to happen. And as I started to realize, well, this person is just a moron. And his response was, well, if you don't like it, you can unfriend me. So wow, yeah, I'm going to unfriend you. Like that's going to change your moronic comments, which he basically was saying, you can unfriend me because I'm still going to continue to make moronic comments. So I could have just continued whatever and tolerated him. Instead, I did the option that I was mentioning before. It just remove yourself from the intolerant situation. In fact, other people started commenting about how, he was, a radical leftist. And then somebody started saying to the radical leftist comment, well, what about the radical rightists or conservatives? And the whole thing, in less than an hour, my comments about please don't make the hurricane political became a source of political controversy and political intolerance. And I couldn't believe it, so I just took the post down because I said, hey, Mia, I said, I don't even want to be part of it. I don't even want to be somebody that's giving a platform for people to argue about, about politics. It was just really ridiculous. So, it immediately became obvious that, and I try and stay out of politics as much as I can. It's hard because everybody's talking about it. But it's pretty obvious that we're not tolerant of each other. And by that, I mean you're not allowing somebody to have an opinion that's different than yours and saying, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. What's happening is it's like, well, your opinion is different than mine. You're not even entitled to your opinion. I saw a friend who posted it was actually a nice post on Facebook. And unfortunately, Facebook is now the platform for all of this stuff. So you have to be careful when you're using it. So my friend posted a picture of, what was that guy's name from Saturday Night Live? Rob Schneider. And he's saying, why don't you go over and speak to your neighbor yourself, and then you find out that we're not really all that different after all. So it was like kind of a nice thing that said, hey, go talk to your neighbor, and then we'll find out, how much we have in common. Well, somehow it degraded into a political conversation where a person who was obviously not tolerant of other people, having an opinion that was different than his, started calling one woman fat and ugly, and he was calling the person that put up the post stupid and ignorant. And the person that put up the post is like, this isn't even a political post. I wasn't even doing this to make a political point. But somehow it degraded into a fight over, politics. And I was just so shocked that even in the face of something positive, people could become intolerant of another person's opinion about what was going on. And then the bickering, the fighting just started. Another thing that I saw that, it's sad. It's really sad. I know I'm pointing these things out to you because I want to make a point about vibrational energy. Apparently some Little Caesars person was giving away pizza to homeless people. And they said, don't go through the garbage pail, the dumpster for food. You're a human being. Come in. If you don't have any money, it's okay. We'll give you pizza. And people were like, wow, that was nice of her. That was nice. Good for you. God bless you. You're doing a good thing. You're doing a good thing. And then one person said, Deborah, this woman's name was Deborah. This was in the comments. Can me and my friend come in and get free pizza? So then people were like, well, if you're homeless, you can. But if you're not homeless, then, you can't. You're just like a privileged person who just wants to take advantage of the system. So all of a sudden, everybody starts like beating up on this girl, Deborah, whoever she was. Oh, you have some nerve. What's wrong with you? Were you raised? It was like really they were berating her. They were being intolerant of her. Stupid comment. Maybe she was joking. I don't know. She just said, hey, can me and my friends come in for free pizza? That's all it was. And then they were saying, if you look up her profile, you'll see that she's just a privileged person. And she obviously doesn't need free pizza. Like they really were investigating this girl and just throwing, everybody was piling on her. So another person, I forgot her name. Let's say her name was Joanna or something. She said, hey guys, don't beat up on her. Maybe she's a bully, but it doesn't make sense to, bully the bully, And then, so then they all started getting on this girl, Joanna, saying, why are you supporting her? Why are you protecting her? You're just like her. She's an idiot and you're more of an idiot if you want to tell us not to call her an idiot. I mean, it was like really ridiculous. And it was all stemming from a post about a woman who was giving away free pizza to homeless people so they don't have to dig in the dumpsters for food. It was something that was so positive, and it turned into something that became ridiculous, that people were just arguing with each other and really really being intolerant of anybody's comments, whether they were good or bad. So this whole intolerance situation and the whole negativity that's going, and somebody wrote something that I'm going to try and remember it is what they said, because I actually clipped it out. Don't lose your sense of decency based on the perceived lack of decency of someone else. So basically it's like, take the high road. Don't become a bully just because somebody else is a bully. Okay, let's say Donald Trump is the most horrible, bully, horrific, whatever, the whole list that they run off, racist, misogynist, the whole thing. Can't use that as an excuse to also bully people. You can't say, well, he says worse. I hear this all the time, because when people say stuff, it's like shocking to me. Well, Donald Trump has said worse stuff than I've said. It was like, so what does that mean? That means you can say something that's just a little bit worse than what he said, I mean, and it's like there's this whole weird vibrational wave that it's okay to just say the most extreme stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of stuff that's posted, a lot of stuff that people say is untrue, lies, whatever, unsupported. But then somebody latches onto it, and they start, their own negative vibrational wave of yelling and bullying and being intolerant. A friend of mine, that just came back from a big vacation, posted a meme that was like a Donald Trump meme, and I said, don't get sucked back in, you just got back, don't get sucked back into the whole thing. And his comment back was like, oh well, but it's funny. Well, even though it's funny, it's still feeding and fanning the flames of all of this negative energy. And, even just pouring a little gasoline on a fire is still going to keep that fire going. Now, there's this phenomenon called Schumann resonance, or Schulman resonance. I tried to look it up, but I just didn't really get a chance. But I've heard of it, and somebody told me the name of it. It's called Schumann, Schumann resonance. And it is this group of people that are measuring the vibrational energy of the planet. And it goes like this, whatever, the vibrational waves that go up and down of the earth. And they noticed that when Princess Diana died in the car crash, there was like a big drop in the energy of the earth. And when 9/11 happened, the whole thing affected the vibrational energy of the earth. So there seems to be an effect that we have on things that cumulative, wow, cumulatively will affect the whole vibrational wave of the planet. Now, I was just traveling in Australia and New Zealand. And yes, I mean, I'm traveling on vacation, so I didn't really get involved in political discussions with people. And, maybe they do have political discussions. I really didn't see any signs of politics being discussed. I didn't really see a lot of racism going on. I didn't see a lot of people calling each other names or fighting or bantering or bickering or anything like that. But again, I was on vacation in resort spots where generally people are happy. But it seems like, the other places that I visited did not have that negative vibrational wave that is going on in the United States right now. And we got to take it down a notch. We got to take it down a notch, We got to take it down 2 or 3 notches. And here's the way that I think we have to do it. You have to withdraw yourself from these political conversations. You have to withdraw yourself from, conversations about whatever, the gender neutral, what people's, whatever optional gender they want to choose, things, that are opinions and lifestyles that people are entitled to have, that we have to be tolerant of. And just be tolerant, and just let people be. If people are not hurting you, then let them do whatever they want. There's really no reason to berate somebody for their opinion. And if you see that that's going on, just pull yourself out of it. Pull yourself out of that conversation. Shut down your Facebook. After that whole thing happened on Facebook the other day with that guy being a moron, and me, I got sucked into it. I literally got sucked to an argument with this moronic person who was like, well, you can unfriend me if you want. If you don't like what I have to say, just unfriend me. Like, that's not going to stop you from continuing to be a moron on Facebook, and probably in his whole life. Obviously, his whole life has been full of intolerance. He lived in a probably family and community that was full of intolerance, used to basically bullying people. And, if you don't agree with me, you're a moron. I mean, you could say if you don't agree with me, you're a moron, but still be friends. Or just say if you don't agree with me, that's okay. It's okay if we don't agree on everything. But I got sucked in myself, and until I detached and took the post down and, cried a little bit, because it really was upsetting and sad to me that people would not see that the real catastrophe that's going on with this hurricane is so much more important than, than complaining about politics. And it's funny what we tolerate, what we tend to tolerate. I mean, we've always tolerated difference in political views. Our whole country is based on Republicans, Democrats, difference in political views, difference in, whether or not abortion, gay marriage, immigration. I mean, there's a bazillion hot button topics that we can talk about that people have a difference of opinion. And the whole point of it is that you're entitled to your opinion, and you have to tolerate the person's different opinion. That's what tolerance means. Tolerance means you have your opinion and I have my opinion. They're different, but we tolerate them, and we go on as treat each other with dignity and respect. That's the part that's missing. The intolerance is the lack of dignity and respect that people have for each other. And it's really pervasive, and I think it's going to be affecting the vibrational waves of the earth, because there's so much negativity going on. And the things that we are expected to tolerate also, I was having a conversation with somebody about Vietnam veterans, or any veterans of war, that they come back and there's PTSD, and they're very, anxious and depressed, and that from having been at war and having their lives been in jeopardy, and hearing bombs go off behind them, and that some of them are using dogs as support animals because they they know that the dog is behind them. At least they got somebody watching their back. The dog keeps them calm. They get over the PTSD, or they deal with the PTSD. There was a post where Lowe's hired a veteran who had PTSD and his support dog. Then you see both of them wearing the Lowe's vests. It was adorable. The support dog and the guy both wearing the Lowe's vests. Because, the guy couldn't really go anywhere without his dog because he was so traumatized from war. And I was saying that, we should bring people, our Americans, we should bring them back from war as soon as possible, because the longer they're over there, the more chance they're going to have of being traumatized and have to deal with PTSD. And, how many homeless people are veterans? It's horrific. War is hell. And this person that I was speaking to, who was a very smart, person that I believe and respect, she said, no, we have to have wars. Wars are necessary. And I was shocked. I didn't say anything back to her. I was just like, wars are necessary? You think so? Yes, wars are necessary. And I just thought, no, I don't think so. I don't think wars are necessary. And the fact that we would tolerate that some people tolerate that kind of thinking, that wars are necessary, stems from, I guess, our, growing up with our grandparents, World War I, our parents, World War II, that type of thing, Vietnam, Korea, all those things that we're used to, that seems to say that war is something that we need to go on. I don't agree. I don't think war is necessary. And, imagine there's no war. Imagine, there's just peace. People living together in harmony. I mean, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. This is what we should be striving for. Not just tolerating each other, but living in peace. Living in peace and harmony. And I can already feel like my own vibrational wave calming down when I'm just talking about peace and harmony. I was not looking forward to this. I put up tolerance as my subject for tonight. But I wasn't really looking forward to the show, because I really did not want to even talk about that stupid moronic person that was willing to, equate the hurricane with a political position. It seems so stupid to me. But now I know that you can change your own vibrational wave by just changing what you're thinking about. Now I'm not thinking so much about the tolerance anymore. We have to be tolerant of each other. But by being tolerant of each other, we can live in peace and harmony to, a much greater extent. And yeah, I think we need to get rid of war. I think war is something that is not something that needs to happen. And if we can get to a place where wars aren't necessary anymore, we would be in a much better world, because I don't understand. I just don't understand why people have to kill each other over whatever, political beliefs, religious beliefs, territorial, whatever, territory. Only, this is my country. This is where the line is. I'm going to shoot you and get you out of here. I mean, it's really something that has to, we have to change our understanding of that and not tolerate that. That's something we should be intolerant of. We should be intolerant of wars, and instead of the opposite, where our intolerance leads to wars. And I always remembered this. A lot of people have seen this movie, Independence Day, where the aliens come down and they're trying to wipe us out, and Bill Pullman is the president of the United States, and he says, "This is Independence Day," and he says we have to independence from being eradicated from the earth by the aliens. And he said we can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. And that's really it. We really can't be consumed by our petty differences. I mean, people say beauty is skin deep. You always hear beauty is skin deep. Well, you know what else is skin deep? The color of someone's skin. I mean, literally, the color of your skin is skin deep. And the color of your hair is not even skin deep. It's above your hair. But yet people make judgments, and they are not tolerant of people who have different color skin. They're not tolerant of people who have different color hair. The people with red hair, the ginger kids. This is like a slur to people with red hair. Although I just saw it was Ginger Cat Day or something. cats that are like red. And there's a song talking about your ginger hair. I mean, maybe it's going to become something that people are going to become more tolerant of, and then it won't be a thing that people with red hair or freckles will feel inferior because somebody is mocking them because of having different color hair or skin. And we got to get past this stuff. We got to get past this petty intolerance. And you know what? If you don't like who the President of the United States is, then vote him out. Because I got to tell you, all of this yelling and bickering and arguing that everybody's doing back and forth that I see constantly, people who are friends don't talk to each other anymore. Family members don't talk to each other anymore because of this, because of the politics. Something that's going to go on for 4 years or maybe 8 years, whatever. I don't know. But vote him out of office. Go join a political campaign. Support somebody that you can, go knock on doors and hand out flyers, whatever you think you need to do to get him out of office. If that's what you want to do, then go do it. But don't berate people and don't add fuel to the fire of something that, well, he's said much worse things, so it's okay for me to say worse things. So, my mother used to say, if somebody jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you jump off the Brooklyn Bridge too? I mean, if somebody's doing something stupid and idiotic, you don't join the bandwagon and do stupid, idiotic stuff just because, well, he did it, so I can do it. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm getting upset again. I can't tolerate this stupidity. Don't let your sense of decency be degraded by someone else's perceived lack of sense of decency. If someone else is being a jerk, it doesn't mean you should be a jerk too. Take the high road. Disconnect yourself from it. Walk away from a political conversation. Turn off Facebook. I had my phone. I left my phone home. I went out to dinner without my phone. Linda, you were trying to reach me. I was like, I don't care. I don't even want to have my phone. I didn't even want to look at it because my phone became something that, the intolerance was coming through my phone to me. And I was getting upset. And, hey, I like to think of myself as a tolerant person. I hope it's true. I'm sure there are things that I don't want to tolerate war. I certainly don't want to tolerate animal abuse. I don't want to tolerate, a lot of stuff. But if my neighbor's blasting music or, or smoking cigarettes outside or something, I just close my window. I go in the other room, or I leave. I'll go to the store or something. There are so many ways that you can pull yourself out of an intolerant situation instead of getting into an argument with somebody. And yes, acceptance, Linda, acceptance. We look at all of our differences, we have all of our commonalities. We're all human beings. When I was just snorkeling in Hawaii, wherever, all the fish were swimming together. The striped fish, the parrotfish, the blackfish, the angelfish, the turtles. Under the sea, all of these creatures, they just swim together. They don't look at each other and say, get away from me. You're a striped fish. Get away from me. You're a parrotfish. They swim together. And there are groups of fish that hang out together in schools of fish, But, so, I mean, are they better than us? Do they know something that we don't know? No, it's the opposite. They don't know. They don't have consciousness. They don't have the ability to reason and think. They're just going on basic survival instincts. That's the only time they'll fight, if they're fighting over a piece of food and somebody needs it. They're going on basic survival instincts. They don't have any real intelligence or cognizance or consciousness to know what's going on around the world and inside themselves. They don't see themselves as individuals. These are all the things that we have as humans. As humans, we're blessed with the ability to have consciousness and thinking brains and all of that stuff. But we've used it to a point where it's hurting. It's hurting us, our consciousness, our individuality, our ability to understand, who we are on the planet and what effect we can have and how we can either help people or not help people. It's not helping us. We'd be better off if we were like the fish or the birds that just fly around and share the trees and share the ocean and don't fight and just swim together. And I mean, they're not even thinking about tolerating each other. It's not even about tolerance to them. It's just about being, it's just about being alive. It's just about sharing and just growing. And if we're supposed to be the smartest creatures on the planet, then we better smarten up, because we're using our intelligence and we're using our cognizance and we're using our consciousness to hurt each other. And that's like really, really stupid. And, if I see people who are being intolerant of others, then I'm going to pretty much tell them, yeah, okay, fine, you're entitled to your opinion, but I am going to walk away from that. I am going to not tolerate people who are intolerant. But I'm not going to fight with them anymore. I'm not going to get on Facebook. And I wasn't a person who got on Facebook and talked about politics. If you look at my page, I don't talk about politics at all. I stay away from it. I don't care. I hate to say it, I don't care. Because it doesn't matter. It's going to be gone, and we're going to be on to something else. And we can't let, like, this whatever negative effect carry through the rest of our, beings. So we have to just tolerate each other, really be tolerant, and help each other out. When you help somebody and they help you, you don't see what color they are necessarily. You don't ask them, when people now down in South Florida and all over the place, I'm sure people in the Bahamas, even the Bahamas, somebody put up something like the hurricane hitting the Bahamas, right? And somebody was saying, please help us, we're stuck. But what did people say? Oh, those poor people. A couple people said, oh, those poor people, pray for them, I hope they get help. But a couple people said, hey, what's with that Christmas tree? And it was like a little Christmas tree. It was only like one of those 2-foot tall Christmas trees. Oh, how come there's a Christmas tree there? I don't think this is the Bahamas. Why would you have a Christmas tree out? Well, first of all, when are there ever hurricanes in December? So why don't you think about that? There are no hurricanes and horrific, slashing of your window being blown out by waves in December. So, maybe these people didn't have an attic. Maybe they didn't have a basement. Maybe they didn't have a closet that could fit their little 2-foot Christmas tree. And so they just had it in the corner. But no, did people even think but immediately they were like, oh, that's not a real video because he's got, what's with the Christmas tree? What's with the Christmas tree? I'm like, I can't believe people are really thinking that this is fake because there's a Christmas tree in it. Now I have Christmas stuff all over the place. There's my Christmas pig over there, and I have a Santa, and I have some Christmas stuff over there. I keep Christmas stuff around all the time because I love Christmas. But the point is that people they didn't even want to believe that it was a real video because there was a Christmas tree in it. Yet, the fact of the matter was, even if it wasn't a real video, there were people, and there are people right now at this moment in the Bahamas that are being beat up so bad by a hurricane. I can't even imagine it. I've lived through hurricanes. I've lived through like a category 3 where I stayed home and we listened to it for whatever, hours and hours and hours, just battering the house. And it's really bad. And once you're there, once you're stuck in it, you just have to tolerate it. You just have to live through it. But these people couldn't even have compassion for anybody that was in that position, that even if this wasn't real, there are people down there that are suffering right now and that are dealing with this. And now, God help them, it's dark out. And if they lost electricity, now they're sitting in the dark with this hurricane battering down on them. And it's just really, it's really some of the worst stuff that you could ever live through. I mean, it really, talk about post-traumatic stress. It could really leave a mark on you. And God forbid, you don't survive it. I mean, I don't even want to think about people not surviving this hurricane in the Bahamas because it's very upsetting to me. But what is wrong with people? They are immediately, instantly looking for something to pick on. Like the Christmas tree was there. I couldn't believe I read it. And, I guess I should probably stop reading comments. I like to read the comments because I like to see what people's ideas are at, But I think I'm going to have to stop doing that because all of this commentary that people have are just, baseless and really negative. Really, really negative. And And we got to move away from that. We got to move away from the negativity. Now, I say I have Linda on here and I have Miriam on here. You guys are some of the most positive people that I know. And there's a third person who I don't know who's watching right now. But now I may be like preaching to the choir tonight because I'm talking about tolerance to tolerant people. And it's okay. Because like the intolerant people, like that jerk that said his family would agree that it's okay if their house gets blown away. I was like, don't you think Donald Trump's got the best shutters in the world? I really don't think his house is going to get blown away. And if it does, then Miami's going to be a disaster area. And of course, he was being a moron and he was trying to entice me and goat me into an argument. And it worked because I argued with him. That guy's not watching my show. That guy's not watching and going, oh, Diana, the happy lawyer. He's out in the street getting into a fist fight with somebody or something, or he's arguing with his kid, or he's arguing with his mother because he's that kind of stupid, moronic person that just wants to fight. Because he probably grew up that way. He probably grew up in a house where people were fighting all the time, and that's all he knows. That's his paradigm, is fighting and being combative. So the people that are probably tuning in and that may tune into the show, and all the people that I love and all the people that love me, you're the tolerant people. And I'm glad. You're the tolerant people, because this is where the tolerance is going to start. We're not going to be able to, like, someone's not going to watch the show and go, gee, I was a stupid prick, but now I'm going to be tolerant. That's not going to happen. The guy who's going to unfriend me. What a jerk. This is not going to change him. But I think that the people who are tolerant, if we go out, now you really can't change other people. You can only change yourself. But if you present yourself in the way of tolerance and you just talk to people with whatever's going on, oh, well, they're entitled to their opinion. Well, it's if as long as it doesn't hurt me, you're entitled to. If those are the kind of comments that you're making with people who are intolerant or argumentative, we may be able to just spread a little bit of tolerance around so that maybe it starts to get picked up. I mean, I can already tell by the people that I saw that are, colleagues, work colleagues, and going back to work next week. If those 2 people or 3 people are in the hallway at the same time, it ain't going to be pretty, because they really got nasty. They were really, really nasty. And it wasn't even based on politics anymore. It was literal name calling. You ignorant moron, you ugly, fat, fake bleach hair. I was like, wow. And I read it. I shouldn't have read it. I was like, how did this happen? How did this basic go meet your neighbor and see what commonalities you have turn into you moronic, fat, ugly, whatever. And I won't ever be able to teach that person tolerance, because I know that person and he hates himself. He hates his life. So that's just the way he is. He's always going to be, because he's in that combative mode all the time from whatever gone on in his childhood. I don't know. Whatever goes on in he's always combative at work. He's always starting arguments with people. So it's not surprising that he's going to be continuing this just based on anything. Some people will look for a reason to argue. So those aren't the people that are going to be like all of a sudden changed. Diana was so good tonight that I'm going to be tolerant now. It's not going to happen. But if we just start for ourselves and just be more tolerant with other people, maybe we could spread that thing. And then that Schumann effect, I'm going to have to find it online. I always thought it was very interesting. Like, oh, wait a minute, we have a depressed wave because 9/11 happened, or something else that's bad. I don't want to mention things that could be bad, because it's not what I'm here for. But I imagine things that are happy, like Earth Day, or the Olympics, things that people are watching and being happy about, could raise the vibrational energy of the earth, the different opposite Schumann effect, so that and I think we can do it. I mean, I really think that we have the power as vibrational beings, and using our conscious mind. I don't want to say that everybody praying that the hurricane would go offshore made it go offshore. But I do know that when we have that much vibrational energy going in one direction, that, it could have an effect. And what actually happened was the hurricane slowed down, which resulted in the Bermuda High coming down this way, which kept the hurricane further south, and now because it's moving more slowly, there's a front coming across the western United States down towards Florida, and that is what's going to push the hurricane further out to sea. And there's a little gap in between the Bermuda High and the western front, and that's why the hurricane is staying offshore. It doesn't really have anything steering it; it's just going to kind of meander north. So it's really steering currents that are making the hurricane do what it's doing. But I like to imagine in my mind that all the people that were praying for the hurricane to move offshore and not smash into Florida maybe had effect on the steering currents. I don't know. Maybe had a small effect on everybody's little tiny effect on that hurricane slowing down from 13 miles an hour to 10, 12. Now it's 8 miles an hour, which is very bad for the Bahamas. But I don't know. I mean, we had Hurricane Sandy here, which was horrific. And there are people here that now are living in big, giant, houses that were beyond their imagination that they could deal with, that they could have before the hurricane. So, there are a lot of reasons that things happen. And I can't explain all of those. I don't know the bad reasons. But I do know that the bad things that happen. I don't know the reasons that the bad things happen. But I do know that the positive energy that we can put out is always going to have a better effect. You're always going to have a stronger effect by putting out positive energy. So keep putting out positive energy. Keep being tolerant. Try and be more tolerant this week of anybody. People that are, smoking cigarettes, as lame as that might be, like the busboy said. I used to comment to people about smoking cigarettes. Now I don't comment anymore. Because whatever, it's not my business. If they want to do it, if I can walk away from it, I'm not standing in a puffy cigarette smoky cloud. They're not smoking in where I'm eating or anything like that. I'll just walk away from it. If you have people that are going to talk stupid politics, walk away from it. Don't get sucked in. If someone else is being intolerant and losing their sense of decency, it doesn't mean that you have to become intolerant and lose your sense of decency also. So, let's be, just be better people. Be like fish in the sea. Tolerate everybody. Everybody's allowed to be here. Everybody's allowed to have their opinions. Everybody's allowed to be fish in the sea. And we can all swim together. And there's plenty to go around of everything. So, let's work with that. And if my opinion differs from yours, or if your opinion differs from the next guy, so be it. It's okay. We're allowed. We're allowed to have different opinions. We're allowed to have different lifestyles. We just got to go with that. Because, that's really what, that's what the consciousness level of acceptance, teaches us to just live and let live, as they say, live and let live. Okay, I'm tired of hearing myself talk. I wasn't crazy. I mean, this is an important topic, but I don't like talking about it because it's got so much negativity in it. The intolerance is so negative. I wish I could sprinkle some fairy dust through Facebook. Gee, maybe I can get one of those, like one of those faces or kitty cat faces that morph into something else, and I could make people become more tolerant and more loving. Maybe I can do that. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to see if I can get some hypnosis on Facebook that will make people be happy and loving, and that would be great. And then the world can live as one. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for tonight. I love you all, and love is all you need. So, have a great week. Mwah, 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 mwah. Enjoy the holiday tomorrow and the short week at work. And I'll see you all next Sunday night. Same bat time, same bat channel, different topic. And, I don't know. If you got any topics that you want to suggest, girls, ladies, gentlemen, let me know, because I'm open. I'm open to suggestions. Okay. Love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a great night. Bye.